The moment the entire XRP army has been waiting for has finally arrived, and it is bigger than anyone could have possibly predicted. For years, we have stood strong, fighting through endless regulatory battles, blatant market manipulation, and intense fear, uncertainty, and doubt designed to shake weak hands out of their positions. But today, the game fundamentally changes. The single biggest blocker holding XRP back from its true macroeconomic destiny just fell. And the shockwave this is going to send through the entire cryptocurrency market will be nothing short of historic. If you have been holding your XRP tightly, waiting patiently for the exact moment the institutional floodgates finally blow wide open, you need to pay close attention to every single word in this video. The chains are officially off. Welcome back to Crypto Report, your #1 source for the truth behind the charts. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and smash that like button right now, so you never miss out on the most critical, time-sensitive cryptocurrency updates on the entire internet. Today, we are diving deep into the massive breaking news that is currently shaking the foundation of the traditional financial system. The massive roadblocks that kept retail investors absolutely terrified and major institutions watching from the sidelines are completely gone. We are not just talking about minor price fluctuations or temporary hype. We are talking about the absolute undeniable validation of XRP as the premier bridge asset for the new global financial system. The institutional green light we have been analyzing for months is finally flashing, and trillions of dollars are getting ready to flow. Let us jump straight into exactly what just happened and why this changes everything. For years, the single heaviest anchor weighing down XRP was the dark cloud of regulatory uncertainty. The legal battles and the constant threats were a calculated maneuver, a massive roadblock intentionally placed to stall true innovation, while the legacy banking system scrambled to catch up and figure out how to survive. But that roadblock has just been entirely obliterated. The era of regulatory ambiguity is dead, and the era of institutional adoption has officially begun. What we are witnessing right now is the complete capitulation of the old guard. The biggest blocker was never just about a single legal dispute. It was about preventing massive institutional capital from legally and safely interacting with the XRP ledger. And that barrier has just collapsed in spectacular fashion. We are now seeing the undeniable proof of this massive macroeconomic shift. The recent developments involving major traditional finance players, including massive blockchain initiatives from global giants like MasterCard, are not just random coincidences. These massive financial conglomerates do not make multi-billion-dollar moves on a whim. They calculate every single risk, and their sudden, aggressive entry into the utility crypto space signals one absolute truth. The regulatory green light has been given behind closed doors, and it is now aggressively bleeding into the public sector. When you combine this massive network expansion with the sheer velocity of institutional inflows we are seeing across the broader cryptocurrency market, the picture becomes incredibly clear. The institutional money managers are aggressively building their infrastructure, laying the financial pipes to channel trillions of dollars of wealth directly into utility-driven digital assets. XRP is sitting perfectly at the very center of this massive financial revolution. The mainstream narrative has completely flipped overnight. It is no longer a question of if traditional finance will adopt this technology, but rather how fast they can integrate it before their competitors leave them in the dust. The removal of this massive regulatory blocker means that central banks, global payment providers, and massive asset managers no longer have to operate in a state of fear. They finally have the exact clarity they demanded. The shackles are off, and the smart money is quietly positioning itself for the greatest transfer of wealth in human history. They wanted you terrified, they wanted you exhausted, and they desperately wanted you selling your backs while they accumulated at the absolute bottom. But the truth is finally out. The ultimate barrier has fallen, and the absolute magnitude of what is coming next simply cannot be understated. This massive shift from speculation to pure, unadulterated utility is exactly why this changes everything for XRP. For the last decade, the entire cryptocurrency market has been largely driven by retail hype, meme coins, and purely speculative trading. But the big money, the trillions of dollars locked up in the traditional banking sector, does not care about retail hype. They care about efficiency, speed, and massive cost reduction. By breaking down the ultimate regulatory barrier, XRP is no longer just another digital asset on a screen. It is officially stepping into its intended role as the ultimate global settlement layer. The traditional banking system is currently running on ancient, incredibly inefficient technology. The SWIFT network, which handles trillions of dollars in global transactions every single day, is slow, expensive, and prone to massive errors. It forces banks to hold trillions of dollars in pre-funded Nostro and Vostro accounts all around the world, which is essentially dead capital just sitting there, doing absolutely nothing. Ripple's master plan has always been to completely eradicate this incredibly inefficient system, and XRP is the ultimate tool to make that happen. By utilizing XRP for on-demand liquidity, financial institutions can instantly settle cross-border transactions in roughly 3 seconds for a fraction of a penny, without the need for those massive pre-funded accounts. This unlocks trillions of dollars in dormant capital overnight. The only reason this transition has not happened immediately across the entire banking sector was the crippling fear of regulatory blowback. Banks simply could not risk adopting a revolutionary technology that was heavily scrutinized by powerful government agencies. But now that the biggest blocker has fallen, that excuse is completely gone. We are about to witness the aggressive decoupling of XRP from the rest of the speculative cryptocurrency market. While other digital assets will continue to rise and fall based on social media trends and retail investor psychology, XRP is going to be driven by actual, real-world utility volume. We are talking about volume that is integrated directly into the core infrastructure of the global economy. When major central banks and global payment providers start flipping the switch and routing billions or even trillions of dollars in daily transaction volume through the XRP ledger, the resulting price action is going to become violently bullish. The sheer mathematics of supply and demand will simply take over. There is only a finite amount of XRP in existence, and as the daily utility demand skyrockets to accommodate massive global financial settlement, the price per coin has absolutely no choice but to rise significantly to securely handle that massive transfer of liquidity. This is not a distant dream anymore. This is the new financial reality unfolding right before our eyes. Now, the absolute most common question I get asked every single day is this: if all of this incredible news is dropping, if the biggest regulatory blocker in the history of crypto has completely fallen, and if massive financial institutions are heavily adopting this technology right now, why exactly has the price not skyrocketed to the moon yet? Why are we still looking at charts that seem completely disconnected from these massive world-changing fundamental developments? It is the elephant in the room, and we need to address it head-on right now, because understanding this disconnect is the absolute key to surviving the next phase of this market cycle. The reality of the situation comes down to pure calculated market manipulation and the aggressive, stealthy accumulation of assets by the most powerful entities on Earth. You have to understand how the smart money operates. When massive institutions decide to enter a market, they do not just smash the market buy button and send the price up 1,000% in a single day. That would be completely counterproductive to their goals. They need massive liquidity to fill their massive orders. And the only way they can get that liquidity is by extracting it directly from frustrated, exhausted retail investors. They intentionally create a massive disconnect between the incredibly bullish fundamental news and the actual daily price action. This is psychological warfare at its absolute finest. They use algorithmic trading bots and heavily coordinated short positions to suppress the price, keeping it trapped in endless consolidation zones. They want you to stare at that flat chart and feel a deep sense of despair. They want you to think that you made a massive mistake, that the news does not matter, and that XRP is a dead coin. Because the exact second you give up, the moment you finally capitulate and sell your bags out of sheer frustration, a massive institutional algorithm is sitting right there, instantly scooping up your coins at a massive discount. They are shaking the tree as violently as possible to ensure that retail investors are completely flushed out before the real parabolic run begins. Do not let them win. The price suppression you are witnessing right now is not a sign of weakness. It is the absolute ultimate sign of aggressive whale accumulation. The longer a coil is compressed, the more violent the eventual explosion is going to be. Let us transition right over to the actual technical analysis and look closely at the chart setup, because the data is screaming at us that a massive historical breakout is imminent. When we zoom out and look at the macro timeframes, the weekly and the monthly charts, we are seeing the exact same pattern play out that preceded every single massive parabolic bull run in cryptocurrency history. XRP has been tightly coiled inside a massive multi-year symmetrical triangle. For years, the price has been getting squeezed tighter and tighter between descending macro resistance and incredibly strong ascending support. And right now, as the fundamental news has never been stronger, we are finally snapping out of those aggressive downtrends. The chart is actively building massive foundational support, printing higher lows consistently and heavily testing that upper resistance line. Once we secure a confirmed high-volume weekly candle close above this massive macro resistance, the technicals suggest that the price discovery phase will be absolute sheer violence. We are not just talking about a conservative 10 or 20% move here. The immediate short-term technical targets, purely based on the height of this massive wedge, point directly toward the $1.50 range, heavily acting as a major psychological battleground. But once that specific level is shattered and completely flipped into macro support, the true institutional FOMO kicks in. Our midterm targets rapidly accelerate toward the previous all-time highs of $3.84, and eventually, we are looking at massive macro extensions pushing into the $5 to $10 range. When utility volume officially overtakes retail speculation, these targets are actually incredibly conservative. This is the moment where true generational wealth is built, but it requires absolute patience and an iron stomach. Do not let the massive institutions steal your bags right before the absolute biggest wealth transfer in financial history actually happens. Hold the line, understand the massive fundamentals, and ignore the daily noise. Thank you so much for tuning in to Crypto Report today. If you found massive value in this update, you must smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop your ultimate end-of-year XRP price prediction down in the comments below. Stay strong, keep your diamond hands polished, and I will see you in the absolute next video.